searing midday sun on the African savanna, where temperatures climb past 100 degrees Fahrenheit, not a single cloud offers mercy to the grasslands stretching to the shimmering horizon. This is the kingdom of light, where everything is exposed and every movement carries a price. Along the banks of a river winding through the sun-baked plains, 4 golden shapes lie motionless in the tall grass. 4 lionesses, amber eyes half closed against the glare, yet never truly asleep. The African lion. Their roar carries 5 miles, a primordial sound that tears through the silence of the savannah. But today, the lionesses do not roar. Today, they wait. Beneath the silt-clouded water, another hunter is also waiting, more patient, more cold-blooded, and older by many millions of years. The Nile crocodile, one of Africa's most dangerous predators, over 16 feet long, weighing in excess of 1,000 pounds, with a bite force reaching 3,700 psi, nearly 6 times that of a lion. They have existed virtually unchanged for 80 million years. When the dinosaurs vanished, the crocodile remained. A lioness steps to the water's edge. The pride's cubs need to drink, and the riverbank is the border between 2 empires. The surface ripples. 2 yellow eyes emerge, less than 10 feet from shore. The lioness freezes. She drops her shoulders, snarling, but does not retreat. The crocodile lunges ashore, its armored body exploding from the water like a living torpedo. On land, they can reach short bursts of roughly 11 miles per hour. But on solid ground, the advantage shifts to the lions. The lioness sidesteps, claws raking across the crocodile's armored snout. 2 other lionesses charge in a combat formation, assembling in a heartbeat. Three against 1. The lionesses encircle, growling, driving the crocodile back toward the water. This is coordinated warfare, the same skill that brings down Cape buffalo 10 times their weight. The crocodile retreats, not out of fear, but calculation. On land, this is not its fight. The riverbank falls quiet again, but both sides know this boundary will be contested tomorrow and the day after, until the river runs dry. The African lion, the only big cat on Earth that lives in a social structure. A typical pride consists of 4 to 12 adult females, 1 to 3 males, and their young. "85 to 90% of all hunts are carried out by the females. They coordinate like a military unit, flanking, cornering, striking. Group hunting success reaches roughly 30%. The male lion, with a dark, thick mane signaling high testosterone and superior fitness, weighs up to 550 pounds. But his primary role is not hunting. It is defending territory. They sleep 16 to 20 hours a day, conserving every drop of energy for the moments that decide survival. The lion's kingdom is shrinking. Only 6 to 10% of their historic range remains. 22,000 to 25,000 wild individuals, that is all that is left of a species that once ruled all of Africa. With a top speed of 50 miles per hour sustained for only a few hundred feet, the lion is not the fastest predator on the savannah. They rule through collective cunning, through the power of unity. But elsewhere on this planet, there exists a land where even lions, with all their strength and coordination, could not survive. Where the enemy is not crocodiles or hyenas, but the very ground beneath their feet. Where temperatures plunge to minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit, where winter stretches 8 months long, where sunlight vanishes and the cold becomes an uncrowned tyrant. Welcome to Wildverse, where we explore the most remarkable stories the natural world has to offer. From the African savanna to the frozen reaches of Alaska, this is the story of two kingdoms, one war, and creatures that have evolved over millions of years to claim dominance at opposite extremes of the Earth. In that land, at the far edge of the North, who rules? And what weapons do they wield when everything around them is trying to kill them? The answer lies in Alaska, the greatest wilderness in the United States, where the struggle for survival unfolds in every moment without pause. Denali National Park, over 6 million acres of pristine wilderness stretching across the heart of Alaska, one of the largest protected areas in North America, where the hand of humanity has scarcely left its mark. At its center, Denali rises to 20,310 feet, the tallest peak in North America, draped in year-round snow, standing like a silent sentinel over the wild. "39 species of mammals and over 165 bird species share this land, each one a warrior forged through thousands of generations to endure the cold. From taiga forests carpeting the valley floors to wind-scoured tundra on the heights, from summer marshlands to silent fields of permafrost, Denali holds a remarkable array of ecosystems within a single territory. Winter here lasts 8 months. Temperatures touch minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit, a threshold where metal turns brittle and breath freezes before it hits the ground. Yet this is not a dead land. This is a land of those who refuse to yield. The brief summer erupts with urgency. 20 hours of daylight each day transform the frozen tundra into a carpet of wildflowers. Insects swarm. Migratory birds pour in from every latitude. and every creature begins its race against time. Because in Alaska, summer is not a season of rest. Summer is the season of preparation for the war called winter. And in that war, the best prepared is not the strongest, but the most intelligent. Deep in the taiga, where streams trickle through thick carpets of moss, a strange sound rings out the crack of timber, rhythmic and steady, like the hammer of an invisible carpenter. The American beaver, the largest rodent in North America. Over 3 feet long, weighing up to 65 pounds, they are the most accomplished engineers that evolution has ever produced. Orange-yellow incisors, reinforced with iron in the enamel, grow throughout their lives and never go dull. They fell an aspen 8 inches in diameter in under 5 minutes. But the beaver is no destroyer. It is an architect. Every log, every branch, every handful of mud is placed with precision. A single beaver dam can stretch hundreds of feet, blocking a stream and transforming a narrow valley into a broad pond. That pond is not merely a home, it is a fortress, a pantry, and an entirely new ecosystem born from the hands of a rodent. The lodge sits in the center of the pond, accessible only through concealed underwater entrances. Wolves cannot reach it, bears cannot break through its mud and timber walls. A defensive design without weakness, honed over millions of years. Inside the lodge, temperatures remain above freezing, even in the depths of the harshest winter. A beaver family huddles together inside throughout winter, parents alongside offspring from 2 recent breeding seasons. They share space, share food, and share the duty of maintaining the dam. Every crack must be patched immediately, because a leak means dropping water levels, exposed entrances, and vulnerability to attack. Beavers repair their dams through the night, working without rest. This is the only animal besides humans capable of reshaping landscapes on a scale visible from space by satellite. The beaver's greatest achievement, however, is not the dam itself, it is what they accidentally create. As water rises, wetlands form, fish find breeding grounds, frogs and salamanders colonize the shallows, waterfowl flock in to nest. An entire ecosystem emerges from the work of a rodent weighing less than 70 pounds. Scientists call them ecosystem engineers. Few species on Earth can transform a landscape the way beavers do. Before winter, beavers shift into stockpiling mode. They sink dozens of branches to the bottom of the pond, an underwater pantry from which they dive to retrieve food all winter, beneath the ice. The flat, broad tail shaped like a paddle is more than a rudder for swimming. When danger is detected, a beaver slaps its tail on the water, producing a gunshot-like crack that sends the family diving deep. In a land where brute muscle decides everything, the beaver prevails through architectural genius. No fangs, no long claws, no speed. But they build, and that is enough to survive through millions of winters. In the natural world, whoever reshapes the environment to suit its own needs holds the truest form of power. Yet not every creature in Alaska can construct its own fortress. Some must rely on a different instinct, the instinct of the opportunist, one who finds a meal anywhere at any time. The American black bear, smaller, lighter, and chronically underestimated beside its grizzly cousin. But that very humility is its most potent weapon. An adult male weighs 200 to 400 pounds, less than half a coastal grizzly. A straight face, tall pointed ears, and no shoulder hump characteristic of the grizzly. What the black bear possesses, however, is something few species can match: a nose 7 times more sensitive than a bloodhound's, capable of detecting food from several miles downwind through forest and fog. And it eats nearly everything: berries, roots, grubs, insects, fish, ground squirrels, carrion, and honey, raided from wild hives. The black bear is the perfect definition of an opportunist on the Alaskan frontier. Short, curved claws, roughly 2 inches long and sharply hooked, are not designed for combat or digging. They are precision climbing tools, built to grip bark and haul 400 pounds of bear straight up a trunk. This is the black bear's ace of survival. When confronted by a grizzly, the true sovereign of the Alaskan forest, the black bear does not fight. It runs, and it climbs. The grizzly, with its long, straight claws and massive frame, cannot climb trees. The black bear knows this and turns every trunk into an escape route. Humility is not weakness. In a land ruled by the most formidable terrestrial predator in North America, knowing precisely when to flee is the highest and most ancient art of survival. When autumn arrives, a primal urge awakens in every black bear hyperphagia. They eat without stopping, storing thousands of calories each day to prepare for 7 to 8 months of hibernation. An adult black bear can gain over 100 pounds in just a few autumn weeks, transforming its body into a living energy reserve. Each autumn day grows shorter, each night longer. When the first snow falls, the black bear must already be ready, or it will never wake again. Inside the hibernation den, a biological miracle unfolds. The female gives birth in sleep cubs the size of a fist, blind, nursing in complete darkness until spring calls them into the light. Their hearts slow from a normal 50 beats per minute to just 8. Body temperature drops by several degrees. Metabolism plummets. The body shifts into a profound conservation mode, a torpor stretching through nearly the entire Alaskan winter, The black bear is not the most powerful creature in the taiga, but it is the most adaptable, and in Alaska, that is what truly matters. But deep within the open tundra, where the taiga gives way to grasslands stretching to the horizon, another presence is listening. One that never hunts alone, but hunts as a pack. The prey it targets is the biggest animal walking the Alaskan land. The gray wolf, the most sophisticated social predator on mainland Alaska. Not as powerful as the grizzly, not as swift as the lynx, but possessing something no other species can match: collective warfare. A Denali wolf pack typically numbers 4 to 8 adults, though some packs swell to 30 during years of abundant prey. Each member holds a defined tactical role: scout, flanker, attacker, or sentinel. The alpha is not the strongest. The alpha is the decision maker, commanding through gaze, through posture, through a single sharp bark that reshapes an entire formation in an instant. The Denali wolf pack's territory spans 200 to 800 square miles, a domain the size of a city, patrolled around the clock and defended with blood. An adult male weighs approximately 105 pounds, far lighter than its primary prey. But a wolf pack needs no individual strength when it has organizational power. The gray wolf's olfactory system, equipped with roughly 300 million scent receptors, detects prey from several miles away, even through deep snow, frozen ground, and a fierce headwind. Ears swivel independently through nearly 180 degrees, pinpointing sound with remarkable accuracy. They detect the faint crunch of moose hooves on frozen snow from distances where human eyes perceive only white. But what makes the gray wolf most formidable on the tundra is not its senses, it is its intelligence. They do not merely kill, they select. Wolf eyes scan a moose herd, identifying the weakest individual, the old, the sick, the calf that has strayed. This is not cruelty. This is ecology in its purest form. Selective predation that removes the weakest, the diseased, and the genetically compromised, to safeguard the health and resilience of the entire population. Ecologists call the grey wolf the physician of the ecosystem, the force that has kept Denali in balance since the dawn of time. The hunt begins with patience. The pack stalks, moving in a crescent formation, gradually maneuvering the prey into a disadvantage. When the alpha gives the signal a single piercing bark or a surge forward, the pack erupts as one. They fan out across the snow, cutting every escape route, forcing the prey to turn and stand its ground. In deep snow, where a moose struggles with every step, the wolf holds a decisive anatomical edge. Narrow paws distribute weight efficiently, letting wolves glide across the crust while their prey sinks to its chest. not every hunt succeeds. Most end in failure. A moose can kill a wolf with a single kick, and they often do. But the pack does not abandon the hunt. They regroup, assess what went wrong, refine their approach, and circle back to try again, sometimes within hours, sometimes the following day. In a land where winter kills more than all predators combined, the pack's coordination is not merely a tactic, it is a philosophy of existence. When darkness falls and howls rise over the frozen tundra, it is not the sound of loneliness, it is the call of an army, and every creature within miles takes notice. Each howl is answered. Each member confirms its position. The Alaskan night belongs to the gray wolf, and everything knows it. The gray wolf is more than a predator. It is a master communicator employing over 10 distinct howl types, combined with complex body language to relay information within the pack. A tilt of the alpha's head can halt an entire hunt. A flick of the tail can shift the whole pack into alert mode. They read one another as precisely as soldiers read orders from a commander. But the prey the wolves crave most, the giant that wanders the taiga, does not surrender easily. To bring it down, even a full pack must wager its lives. The moose, the largest deer species on the planet. An adult bull weighs up to 1,500 pounds, stands over 6 feet at the shoulder, bearing antlers spanning 6 feet, a bone shield weighing 40 pounds. Standing in the taiga, the moose looks like a creature from a prehistoric epoch, and in a sense, it is exactly that. Its ancestors walked this very land alongside woolly mammoths during the last ice age. Despite its enormous size, the moose can run 35 miles per hour and swim across wide rivers without hesitation. Those long, slender legs, deceptively fragile, conceal the power to crush a wolf's skull. Autumn, the mating season, transforms these quiet giants into frenzied warriors. Two bulls charge each other, antler crashing against antler, the sound reverberating through the valley like rolling thunder. The contest can last for hours. The loser must leave carrying wounds that may take weeks to heal. The victor earns the right to mate with the entire herd of cows. This is not a battle for honor. This is a battle waged at the genetic level for the right to pass one's bloodline into the next generation of a species that has endured since the Pleistocene. When winter descends, moose face their most brutal challenge. Snow several feet deep turns every step into agony. They use heavy antlers to scrape through snow for food, frozen lichen buried beneath. The bulls shed their antlers shortly after the rut, casting off their primary defensive weapon at precisely the most perilous time of year, when wolves are hungriest and snow is deepest. Winter does not play favorites. And this is precisely when the grey wolf strikes. The moose, exhausted from the rut, stripped of antlers, slowed by snow, becomes the perfect target for a hungry pack. On the frozen tundra, the chase between wolf and moose is the most iconic confrontation in Alaskan nature. Raw power against coordinated strategy, the solitary giant against the pack. Neither side always wins, but both know every encounter is a wager of life and death. And while the battle on land rages without end, beneath the Alaskan sea, an entirely different world is stirring. There, dominion is not measured by fangs or claws, but by song. What unfolds beneath those dark waters will change how we think about the intelligence of the ocean. Each summer, as the Alaskan seas grow warmer beneath the long northern light, enormous dark shapes materialize from the south. They have traveled more than 5,000 miles, one of the longest migrations of any mammal on Earth. The humpback whale, 40 tons of muscle, bone, and blubber, stretching up to 50 feet. Its pectoral fins, the longest of any whale, spread like the wings of an underwater aircraft. They leave the warm tropical waters where they breed and give birth in shallow, sheltered bays, and journey thousands of miles to Alaska for one reason alone: food. Alaskan waters in summer host the richest feast in the ocean. Plankton blooms trigger billions of herring and sardines to gather into living clouds beneath the surface. And the humpback whale possesses a hunting technique no other species on the planet has mastered: bubble net feeding. Four to 20 whales coordinate with stunning precision. One dives deep, begins swimming in circles, and exhales a spiraling curtain of bubbles from below. The rising bubbles form a shimmering wall, trapping thousands of fish inside. The others swim in a tightening spiral, constricting the net. The fish panic, compressing into a tight ball. Then all surge upward at once, mouths agape, each whale engulfing thousands of liters of water and fish in a single lunge. "3,000 pounds of food per day. That is what a single humpback needs to store enough fat for the southward migration, where it will eat almost nothing at all." The most spectacular aspect of bubble net feeding is not the brute size of its participants or the tonnage of fish consumed. It is the sophisticated neural coordination behind the strategy. Bubble net feeding is not instinct. It is a learned behavior transmitted across generations through observation and imitation. Scientists call this cultural transmission. The mother whale teaches her calf. The calf mimics, fails, tries again. Sometimes it takes several summers to master. This is not reflex, this is education. And then there is the song. Underwater, sound travels at roughly 4,900 feet per second, nearly 5 times faster than in air. The humpback whale has seized upon this acoustic advantage and transformed it into a genuine art form. Male humpbacks produce complex sound sequences lasting 20 minutes, transmitted hundreds of miles beneath the surface. Each population has its own song, and the song changes every year. The most remarkable detail, every male in the same population sings the same song. When one alters the melody, the others gradually follow. The song evolves slowly, steadily, like a living language. No one knows precisely why they sing. Perhaps to attract mates, perhaps to mark territory, or perhaps, as some researchers believe, it is simply an expression of emotion. In the vastness of the ocean, a 40-ton creature raises its voice in song, and hundreds of miles away, another listens. If that does not make us pause and reflect on the cognitive depth of the ocean, perhaps nothing can. The humpback whale was once hunted to the brink of extinction. But since the whaling ban took effect, their populations have been gradually recovering, one of the rare conservation successes of the 20th century. Each summer, they return to Alaska faithful to the waters that nourished their ancestors for millions of years. And each summer, bubble nets erupt on the surface, a reminder that the sea still holds its wonders. If you find these stories from the wild as captivating as we do, share your thoughts in the comments below. Alaskan waters, however, do not belong to humpback whales alone. Beneath those frigid waves, another empire operates, led by the sharpest intelligence in the ocean. And that ruler, not a shark, not a blue whale, is the creature that even the great white shark avoids. On land, the grey wolf rules through its army. Beneath the ocean, another species does the same, but with cunning and precision at an entirely different level. The killer whale, a name that is no exaggeration. Up to 32 feet long, weighing over 12,000 pounds, armed with 40 to 50 conical teeth, sharp as surgical blades, each one 3 inches long. This is the apex predator of every ocean on Earth. Physical power, though, is only half the equation. What makes the killer whale singular among all ocean predators is its brain, one of the largest and most complex in the entire animal kingdom. Orca society is organized along matrilineal lines, the mother's lineage. A matriarch of 60 or 70 years leads the pod, carrying in her memory an ocean atlas of feeding grounds, dangers, and losses. Each pod possesses its own dialect, a system of vocalizations used by no other pod. They call each other by name. They pass hunting techniques across generations. They grieve when a member is lost. This is not instinct. This is culture. In Alaskan waters, 2 types of pods coexist, but rarely communicate, like 2 nations sharing an ocean, but speaking different languages. Resident pods, fish eaters, primarily salmon and herring. They travel in large groups, vocal and sociable, their calls loud and frequent. Transient pods, marine mammal hunters, seals, sea lions, even whale calves. They move in silence like phantoms, minimizing sound to avoid detection. The most astonishing technique of transient orcas is wave washing, creating a synchronized wave to sweep seals off ice floes. The pod generates a calibrated surge that washes prey into the water without breaking the ice. This is applied hydrodynamics, a precise manipulation of wave, amplitude and frequency, performed instinctively by creatures that have never set foot in a classroom yet rival any marine engineer. Orca calves are not born knowing this. They must be taught mothers to young, grandmothers to grandchildren. An aging matriarch carries the experience of a lifetime, and that knowledge is the pod's most precious asset. Perhaps the most astonishing truth about killer whales lies in what they choose not to do. Not a single documented case exists of a wild orca attacking a human. Not one across the entire history of humankind living alongside the ocean. The apex predator of every ocean, with the intelligence, strength, and weaponry to kill anything, chooses not to attack humans. The reason remains something science has yet to fully explain. Perhaps they recognize that humans are not familiar prey. Perhaps, and this is a contested hypothesis, they are simply intelligent enough to understand that attacking humans offers no benefit. Whatever the reason, the fact stands in the ocean: the most dangerous killer is also the most restrained. As an orca pod glides through the waters of Kenai fjords, dorsal fins 6 feet tall slicing the surface like black swords, they are a reminder that intelligence, not violence, is evolution's supreme weapon. Two whale species, two entirely different strategies. The humpback commands through coordinated strength and song. The orca commands through intellect and cultural inheritance. Both reign over Alaskan waters, proof the ocean is vast enough for more than one empire. But the battle in Alaska is not confined to the open tundra or the vast ocean. In snow-laden forests where light barely penetrates the canopy, another hunter operates silent, solitary, and so precise it almost never misses. It needs no pack. It needs no superior strength. It needs only one thing: absolute patience. The Canada lynx, the phantom of Alaska's snow forests. A coat of thick silver-gray fur renders it virtually immune to extreme cold. Black tufts crown each ear like antennae tuned to every whisper in the forest. And the paws enormous relative to body size, as wide as a human hand, with thick fur lining the soles. Nature's most perfect snowshoes, allowing the lynx to glide across the surface without sinking an inch. "97% of the Canada lynx's diet is snowshoe hare. 97. A figure that in ecology earns the title dietary specialist, an extreme specialist of the highest order. This means the lynx's fate is inseparably bound to that of the snowshoe hare in a 10-year cycle so precise that ecologists have tracked it for more than a century. When hare populations explode, lynx breed prolifically. When hares decline, and they always decline, lynx go hungry, produce fewer offspring, and their numbers plummet. Then hares recover, lynx recover, and the cycle repeats. "10 years, steady, precise, like the heartbeat of the forest." The lynx hunts through ambush, lying motionless for hours in the snow, yellow eyes scanning the white expanse. It detects hare movement from 250 feet, even through winter camouflage. When the moment arrives, the lynx springs a single explosive leap, covering up to 10 feet, precise and almost entirely silent. The snowshoe hare, despite its own formidable reflexes, rarely has time to react. In Alaska's snow forests, the lynx is living proof that specialization, however risky, can become the optimal strategy for survival. As long as the forest holds hares, the lynx will endure. The lynx, however, is not the only species that must face Alaska's winter through endurance. Across the tundra, stretching to the horizon, another procession is on the move. Thousands of individuals, shoulder to shoulder, pressing northward. The caribou, the only deer species in which both males and females grow antlers, a rare evolutionary trait born from the need to scrape through snow for food, a task both sexes must share to survive. Roughly 2,000 caribou roam the Denali region, migrating seasonally between tundra zones, searching for lichen beneath the deep snow. They are the marathon runners of the Arctic. Wide, flat hooves work like snowshoes on powder and paddles in rivers. A double-layered coat guard, hairs blocking wind. Inner fur trapping heat transforms each animal into a mobile bunker. But the caribou migration is a march through gray wolf territory. Every step on the open tundra is an invitation to the patrolling pack, and the wolves know exactly when the herds pass through. Female caribou give birth in early spring when snow melts, but grass has not yet emerged. A newborn calf must stand and run within hours of birth, the only time it has before wolves detect it. There is no reward but life itself. Any calf that is slow will not get a second chance. The caribou herd moves like a single living organism, thousands merging into one, forming a gray-brown current flowing across the white tundra. Safety in numbers, diluting risk, making it hard for wolves to select a target. When Arctic winds lash the tundra and temperatures freeze everything in place, caribou press together, sharing body heat, sheltering calves at the center. This is not sentiment, this is the mathematics of survival. And where the tundra meets the sky, where snow-capped peaks rise above a sea of clouds, another pair of eyes watches from above from a height no land creature in Alaska can reach. The bald eagle, the national symbol of the United States, and the uncrowned king of the Alaskan sky. A wingspan of 6 to 7.5 feet, nearly the combined height of 2 adults. When a bald eagle spreads its wings against the Alaskan sky, it looks like a sigil carved into the heavens, But the eagle's most fearsome weapon is not its wings, it is its eyes. Vision 4 to 8 times sharper than a human's. From 1,000 feet, a bald eagle can spot a single fish beneath the surface, distinguishing its flickering shadow among millions of light reflections on the waves. When the target locks, the eagle folds its wings and dives, reaching 75 to 100 miles per hour. Golden talons, 2 inches, curved like fishhooks, clamp onto the fish with up to 400 psi. The entire strike takes less than 2 seconds, from sky to water and back faster than a heartbeat. Bald eagles build nests atop the tallest spruce trees along rivers, structures 10 feet across, over 13 feet deep, weighing thousands of pounds. They return each year, adding material, creating the largest nest of any North American bird. The most remarkable story of the bald eagle, however, is not its hunting prowess or its vision. It is the story of its resurrection. In the 1960s, only about 417 nesting pairs remained across the United States. DDT had thinned their eggshells until eggs shattered under the incubating mother's weight. America's national bird stood on the brink. Then humans acted. DDT was banned, protection laws were passed, breeding programs were launched. The bald eagle came back. From 417 pairs, the population has recovered to over 300,000 individuals today. In 2007, they left the endangered species list, one of the greatest conservation victories in history. In Alaska, home to the nation's largest bald eagle population, they preside over every river, every coastline, every valley. Their piercing calls echo across the snowscape, the sound of a species reborn. Bald eagles mate for life. During the breeding season, they perform a spectacular aerial courtship, locking talons in midair and cartwheeling in free fall before releasing. It is a vow sealed by gravity. Each morning, as mist lifts from the lake, a bald eagle launches from the tallest spruce broad wings spreading wide, white head gleaming in the first light. It climbs until Denali unfolds in panoramic splendor below. From above, it sees everything. Beavers building dams in the valley, black bears raking bark for honey, a wolf pack patrolling the ridgeline, moose wading through icy streams, caribou massing on the tundra, a lynx lying motionless in the snow. And farther still, beneath the dark blue sea, humpback whales surfacing to breathe, bubble nets erupting on the water, and the black fins of orcas slicing the waves like silent swords. All of it, from the sun-scorched savanna of Africa to the frozen reaches of Alaska, is one single story. The story of a war, not between the strong and the weak, but between life and the forces that seek to extinguish it. Lions rule the savanna through the pride. grey wolves hold the tundra through tactics that grant no quarter. Beavers control the streams through architecture. Orcas command the ocean through intellect. Bald eagles master the sky through unmatched vision. Each species wields its own weapon. Each species fights its own war. But all share one thing, a will that never surrenders. Where there is life, there is a ruler. And where there is a ruler, there is a war without end. The bald eagle tilts its wings, catches a thermal, and climbs higher. Below, Denali glows beneath its mantle of snow in the afternoon. Light, silent, majestic, and eternal. That war has raged since long before the first humans set foot on this continent, since before the ice retreated and the rivers carved their present courses, and it will continue long after we are gone. Thank you for joining Wildverse. The natural world still holds countless stories waiting to be told. We will see you on the next adventure. If you have not yet subscribed, now is the perfect time. Every species carries within it a story never before told, and Wildverse will continue bringing those stories to you. This is not a time of peace. This is the hour of the predator. The ground trembles with a faint rhythm, a silent anticipation of what is to come. In the air, tension coils, like an invisible warning. A single breath stirs, and the silence shatters. This task, as always, falls to the lionesses. They are smaller, faster, and a killing machine, operated by a collective intelligence. Each individual is a link in a flawless plan, a symphony of violence and precision. But as the prey falls, the ancient order is re-established. The pride male, who has watched from a distance, now approaches, his roar asserting his authority. He did not join the hunt, but he will be the first to eat. It is the law of the savannah, a law written in power. The feast has only just begun, but it has already attracted unwanted attention. The signal has been received. Spotted hyenas. Led by a dominant female, a matriarch with bone-crushing jaws, this clan are not opportunistic scavengers. They are efficient hunters, ruthless strategists, and they never refuse a fight. One call, and the clan assembles, an army of organized chaos. They are heading straight for the lion's feast. This is the classic confrontation of Kruger, a conflict that has played out for millennia. The sheer power of the lions against the relentless numbers of the hyenas. The scent of blood rises, mingling with the smell of danger and instinct. The air grows thick, filled only with growls and piercing cries. The savannah erupts into a pandemonium of roars, whoops, and the tearing of flesh. This is not a hunt. This is a war of possession. And while the two giants are locked on the ground, the true opportunists make their move from above. High above, the sharpest eyes on the savannah have joined the game. The spiraling gyre of the white-backed vulture is more than mere curiosity. It is a signal, a living beacon lit in the sky. An open invitation to all who can read the language of the heavens. Just 100 vultures can strip a 100-pound antelope clean in only 3 minutes. They are nature's cleanup crew, astonishingly efficient undertakers. In the grand cycle of life and death, Not a single scrap of flesh goes to waste. This is South Africa, a realm forged in fire and ice, in drought and flood. Sprawling over 471,000 square miles, this land is a convergence of 8 major ecological regions. A rare confluence, making this nation one of the planet's most critical biodiversity hotspots. From the humid coastal forests, where mist clings like a spider's web, to the arid inland savannas, where life clings to every drop of water. Nearly 20 national parks stand as final fortresses, protecting a priceless natural heritage. Thanks to its dramatic climatic variations, South Africa is home to some 299 mammal species and 858 species of bird. Each species is a testament to extraordinary adaptation, a unique story of survival. But in a land where life has never been easy, every day is a tense struggle for existence. Some hope only to survive until dawn. Others calculate every move to satisfy their hunger. Here, every movement comes at a price. And this place allows for no hesitation. Our journey will take us through the most stark and spectacular landscapes to uncover the incredible survival strategies that have shaped this wild kingdom. We begin our journey in the Karoo, a semi-arid land in the southwest. The name Karoo is derived from an ancient Khoi word meaning land of thirst. Under the searing heat, even a breath is a challenge. The climate here is arid year-round, with extreme temperature swings between day and night, which can differ by as much as 86 degrees Fahrenheit. This is an evolutionary arena, where life is tested to its limits. A place where only the toughest, the cleverest, and the most unusual can survive. And in this crucible, the most extraordinary survival strategies have been born. In an environment of unnerving silence, Every species needs a keen survival instinct, and the bat-eared fox is no exception. True to its name, this species possesses enormous ears, about 4 to 5 inches long. But these are more than just cooling fins to radiate heat in the harsh climate. They are a highly sophisticated biological radar system. The fox stands motionless, its head tilted. It is not watching for its prey. It is listening. Listening to an army of millions of termites marching and chewing on roots deep underground. A world of sound that is imperceptible to us. And then it strikes. With lightning speed, it digs at the precise location of the feast. These foxes form lifelong pair bonds, a strong connection in a volatile world. Together, they share duties, digging burrows and defending their territory from other pairs. They possess a specialized set of teeth, more than most other mammals, not for tearing flesh, but for crushing the hard, chitinous shells of insects. Their ears and tail become a complex language, expressing every mood in their silent world. Not far away, another society relies on vigilance and cooperation to endure. Like a courageous sentinel, the meerkat stands out for its community-based survival strategy. They live in clans of up to 40 members, operating as a cohesive unit, a single extended family. Each individual has a role: sentry, babysitter, forager, and excavator. The guard stands at the highest vantage point, enduring the harsh sun, its eyes fixed on the sky, where the martial eagle, their mortal enemy, may appear at any moment. Their forepaws, with their sharp claws, are constantly at work, allowing them to dig complex tunnel systems underground. These burrows maintain a stable temperature, providing a safe haven from the heat of the day and the cold of the night. According to a 2024 report by the Kalahari Meerkat Project, They are one of the few small mammals to exhibit intentional teaching behavior. Adults bring back scorpions with their stingers disabled for the young to learn how to handle dangerous prey. It is a school for survival, where every lesson is vital. The survival of the entire clan depends on the knowledge passed down. And on the highest rocky outcrops, another resident of the Karoo performs its morning ritual. The rock hyrax. On the surface, it resembles an oversized guinea pig. But few would guess that over millions of years of evolution, this small creature is in fact the closest living relative of the largest land animal on the planet, the elephant. The evidence lies in their teeth and the bone structure of their feet. They live in colonies, huddling together to regulate their body temperature during the cold desert nights. The sunbathing ritual is not just for warmth, but also to aid their complex digestive system, helping them process tough, often toxic vegetation. In every colony, one individual always takes on guard duty, a vital role in this open landscape. Perched atop a boulder, it will emit a piercing alarm call at the first sign of danger, and the entire colony will vanish into rock crevices in an instant. But not all residents of the Karoo are small and community-driven. The black rhinoceros, one of the big five, a survivor from a prehistoric age, a solitary soul. With poor eyesight but an extremely keen sense of smell, it moves with silence and vigilance, a mobile grey mountain. The total population of black rhinos in South Africa at the end of 2023 was only about 2,065, an alarming figure for a species that has existed for millions of years. Each individual holds its own territory, marked with dung and urine, living a life of near total solitude. They meet only for the brief mating season. They can survive for more than 5 days without drinking, obtaining moisture from young shoots and branches, thanks to a flexible upper lip capable of deftly gripping and breaking twigs. Most fascinating is its symbiotic relationship with the red-billed oxpecker. These birds are not just cleaners, picking parasites from the rhino's thick hide. They are also a living alarm system. With far better eyesight, they will emit a shrill warning call when a two-legged predator, man, approaches. Although the birds sometimes pick at wounds to drink blood, a seemingly treacherous act, the benefit of an early warning far outweighs this minor annoyance. In this harsh world, every alliance, however imperfect, is valuable. From the Karoo, the terrain gradually rises, opening up to the vast grasslands of the Highveld. This is a sea of grass, stretching to the horizon, where space and freedom reign. Beneath the vast sky, the springbok, the national animal of South Africa, performs its dance of life. Their high, arching leaps, known as pronking, are not just an expression of joy or excess energy. It is a complex visual signal, a multi-layered message. It serves to warn others in the herd of danger, while also demonstrating to predators, I am fit and fast. Do not waste your energy chasing me. At the same time, it is a display to attract a mate. They can reach speeds of up to 55 miles per hour, a wind that skims across the plains. But the springbok are not alone on this grand stage. The black wildebeest, with its forward curving horns and dark coat, forms rivers of life flowing across the grasslands. And alongside them, the plains zebra, nature's artists of camouflage. Their stripes do more than just confuse predators when the herd moves, creating an optical illusion. They are also a unique fingerprint. No two zebras have identical stripes, helping individuals recognize each other within the herd. These two species often travel and graze together, forming a natural defensive alliance, a classic example of interspecies cooperation. The wildebeest have a good sense of smell and hearing, able to detect predators from a distance by scent or sound. Meanwhile, zebras have keener eyesight, capable of spotting the slightest movement on the horizon. This combination creates a nearly perfect early warning system, increasing the chances of survival for both. It is a silent pact, written in the language of instinct and trust. And they need every advantage they can get. Because on this savanna, another force reigns, a force of primal power. The Cape buffalo, a living shield, a formidable member of the Big Five. They live in herds that can number several hundred, forming a mobile fortress of flesh and bone. When threatened by lions, their ancient enemy, the herd unites into a solid mass. The cows and calves, the future of the herd, are safely encircled in the center. The adult bulls, with their massive horns fused at the base to form a nearly impenetrable boss, create a living barrier facing outwards. This collective defense behavior makes them one of the most dangerous prey animals in Africa. They do not run, they confront. Many experienced lions have paid a heavy price for underestimating their unified strength. Further north, where rivers bring eternal life, in a land often gripped by drought. The strip of land between the Limpopo and Olifants rivers is a paradise of vegetation, a verdant corridor. And where there is water, there are giants. The African bush elephant, the largest land animal on the planet, yet it possesses a deep and complex soul. The herd is led by a matriarch, usually the oldest and most experienced female. She is the living repository of the family's knowledge, a mobile library. Her memory is not just a recollection, it is a water map passed down through generations, a priceless legacy. She knows exactly where her ancestors dug for water 50 years ago, even when the riverbed is bone dry. A 2024 study showed that these matriarchs lead their families back to crucial waterholes on a 12 to 15-month cycle, a journey guided by memory. When she finds water, she does not just save her family. She becomes the ecosystem's chief engineer, the bringer of life to the entire valley. They communicate using infrasonic calls from 14 to 30 hertz, sounds too low for the human ear to hear, but which can travel for miles through the air. It is an invisible communication network, connecting elephant families over a vast territory, allowing them to share information about water, food, and threats. But the tranquil surface of the river conceals deadly dangers. The hippopotamus, the semi-aquatic giant, rules the shallows with a cantankerous and unpredictable demeanor. Its bellow is a unique stereo concert. It produces sound simultaneously through its mouth and throat, a dual message warning terrestrial enemies and submerged crocodiles alike of its presence and power. Despite their seemingly placid appearance, they are one of Africa's most dangerous animals, fiercely territorial and responsible for an estimated 500 human fatalities each year. And lurking deeper in the murky water is the river's apex predator, a living relic from the age of dinosaurs. The Nile crocodile. It lies motionless just below the surface, only its eyes and nostrils exposed, a deadly floating log, a master of patience. With a bite force of nearly 5,000 pounds, one of the strongest in the animal kingdom, it is the embodiment of the perfect ambush. It can wait for hours, even days, for a single moment of vulnerability. And when the moment comes, it strikes with terrifying speed, dragging its prey into the water to perform the death roll. It is all over so quickly that the water is still rippling, while the prey has already vanished into the depths of its realm. Its presence is an indicator of a healthy river system, a ruthless but necessary ruler to maintain balance. To the south, along the Indian Ocean coast, the landscape transforms dramatically into dense evergreen forests. This is the garden route, a world of shadows and secrets, where the air is damp and filled with the scent of earth and decaying leaves. Beneath a thick blanket of mist, the bushbuck lives a solitary and silent life. Its coat of stripes and spots is perfect camouflage in the dappled light of the forest. When it senses danger, its first instinct is not to flee. It freezes, lowering its body, and melts into the foliage. It can remain motionless for many minutes. Absolute silence is its greatest weapon, a strategy that has helped it survive among hidden predators. But when night falls, the crown of the forest is passed to a phantom, a silent assassin. The leopard. With its honey-colored coat adorned with unique rosettes, it is a master of concealment, a part of the forest itself. It moves without a sound, its supple body gliding through thickets and climbing branches with ease. After a kill, it performs an extraordinary feat of strength, hauling the carcass, often heavier than its own body, high up into the branches, up to 16 feet off the ground. It is a secure larder, safe from opportunistic scavengers like hyenas or jackals on the ground below. However, the life of this solitary hunter is fraught with tragedy and brutal choices. When a new male wins control of a territory, he often seeks out and kills any cubs that are not his own. A 2024 study in the Sabi Sand Reserve revealed this infanticide accounts for up to 49% of all cub mortality. It is a ruthless strategy, but it brings the female back into estrus more quickly, ensuring the victor's lineage is passed on. In the world of the leopard, Even motherhood must contend with the harshest laws of survival. Our journey concludes at the continent's edge, where two great oceans meet. The Cape Floral Kingdom, a global biodiversity hotspot, home to thousands of plant species found nowhere else on Earth. Here, amid the unique fynbos vegetation and windswept beaches, an unlikely resident has made its life. The African penguin, the only penguin species to breed in Africa. Known for their donkey-like braying, they form lifelong monogamous pairs, a symbol of fidelity. Both male and female share the duties of incubating the eggs and raising the young, taking turns on dangerous foraging trips out to sea. They can dive deep and swim for dozens of miles in search of food for their family. But their world is collapsing, not because of a natural predator, but because of an invisible hand. The scarcity of anchovies and sardines, their primary food source, due to human overfishing, has pushed them to the brink of extinction. Many parent birds must swim farther, for longer, often returning with nothing. Population surveys in 2024 showed the total number of breeding pairs has plummeted to just 9,900, a catastrophic decline from the millions that existed just a century ago. The precipitous decline of nearly 8% per year has placed the species in the critically endangered category. For them, the greatest enemy is not the fur seal or the great white shark. It is an unseen threat from a world beyond their ocean, a competition they cannot possibly win. And that is a harsh reality playing out across this kingdom. The lines between nature and humanity in South Africa are becoming increasingly blurred, and the conflicts are growing more intense. Rhino poaching shows no sign of abating, driven by greed and ignorance. In the first quarter of 2025, 103 individuals were slaughtered, an unacceptable toll. The black market price for rhino horn now reaches $60,000 per kilogram, a price paid in blood and the survival of an ancient species. Wildfires, exacerbated by climate change, are increasing in both frequency and intensity. On the Cape Peninsula alone, in January of 2024, over 62,000 acres of precious fynbos, a World Heritage, were consumed by flames. The boom in ecotourism, while providing needed revenue for conservation, also creates new pressures. Soil erosion, fragmentation of wildlife corridors, and litter are altering the behavior of wild animals, turning them into dependents or creating conflict. These numbers reveal an undeniable truth. We are reshaping this kingdom, often in devastating ways. But the fight is not over. Amidst the shadows, there are flames of hope. Facing these pressures, conservation organizations, scientists, and the government are fighting back with courage and innovation. Elite anti-poaching units are risking their lives every day. Modern surveillance technology, from drones to infrared cameras and satellite data analysis, is being deployed to protect vast areas. In June of 2025, South Africa joined the CITES Rhino Task Force program, strengthening cross-border cooperation to combat international criminal networks. Ecotourism operators are adopting more sustainable models, regulating visitor numbers, and using a portion of their profits to fund community and conservation projects. Education is becoming the most powerful weapon, planting a love for nature in the next generation, who will inherit this kingdom. South Africa is a grand stage, where stories of life, death, tragedy, and triumph are written every day. From the bloody confrontations on the savannah to the silent alliances in the desert, from the ancient memory of the elephant to the fragile future of the penguin. Every creature we have met is fighting its own battle, a war shaped by millions of years of evolution. But now, they all face a common trial, a challenge created by a single species. In this great tapestry of creation, their fate is now more intertwined with ours than ever before. And the future of this magnificent yet fragile wild kingdom ultimately depends on the choices we make today.